Rugby League is back.
Drum roll, please.
You're a true Warriors fan.
I have no recollection of that hot take.
We don't all have to agree.
It's good to be back.
It's just a really boring team.
Oh, no.
Start winning some games.
I think there'll be a lot of changes to the team.
I've got them making the 8 for mine.
Let's go. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Advantage Line, TAB's Rugby League betting podcast. My name is Karl, and I am back in the hot seat once again with my good mate Paul Mawate. Paul, you kept things together last week, just?
Well, yeah, that's up for debate, to be fair.
I've listened to the first half of the episode. I'm halfway through.
It's
okay for now.
I think that says it all, to be fair. Yeah. We got through in the end. It was like one of those rugby league games where it was absolutely hosing down, wind blowing, 27 people in the crowd. Most of them are related to the players. It was, diabolical.
You're lucky you had one of the future immortals with you, and Nick Tedeschi. Teddy, welcome back.
Great to be here. It was a fun episode last week. It was, as you'd expect with anything that involved Paul Mawate, loose, off script, not really playing off the cuff. He certainly wasn't. He's certainly running a Cody Walker game. Wasn't running a Lachlan Ilias game. That's for sure.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness for that.
He's still here. He's still here.
I did note that straight into the first segment when Paul says, "Now, normally we're going to do a divided opinion." Karl does one here. Well, I'm not going to do that.
We were off script. We were off script from moment one, and we never returned.
I did put a couple of notes here, and it's a shame that he's not here to defend himself again. I seem to be throwing barbs at Blake a lot when he's not here, but his hot take on how impressive the Dragons were in round one didn't sit for too long, did it? And then same with Teddy's. Maybe not a hot take, but maybe Big Wayne heard you. You've absolutely given it to the Hammer and the Dolphins.
Oh,
and wow, did they bounce back in a big way?
Talk about inspiring. The Wayne Bennett Nick Tedeschi combination has really lifted here. Wayne's made the changes. He's given a word to Hammer. I've had a little bit on Hammer first try, Hammer anytime, Hammer 2+, Hammer last try. Tick, 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 tick. Hammer is well and truly back in the good books with old Ted. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, talk about loose. I tell you what, being on the good or the bad loose for Teddy week to week, that's as loose as you get.
Wow. Well, Paul worked for me for a number of years, and he was on both sides of that from week to week.
Well, speaking of loose, it's a great segment straight into divided opinion this week.
Oh, we're doing it this week, are we?
We are doing it this week. Yeah. I thought we'd bring it back. We'll just see how it goes. See how the fans react. The divided opinion statement this week, Teddy. Swearing isn't that bad, but Latrell Mitchell took it too far.
Yeah, totally agree. As you both well know, I'm not averse to firing off some French every now and then. And have no drum with it, particularly in the context of a football game. Like if a hot mic picks it up, well, the mic shouldn't have been there really. But after the game, and for him to acknowledge that he was swearing and refusing to stop, I thought was very, very poor. We all laughed to come back to the 2005 grand final. Chris Heineken's swearing and then doing the big whoops, and you know what I mean. Like that's all fine. This was deliberate carry on, and to be honest, I've been very against Paul Kent and his dog whistles of late against South Sydney, but I'm kind of with him on this one that Latrell has been treated with kid gloves here when someone like Mitch Kenny put out an Instagram post with a couple of lines there, and he's out for a week. Brandon Smith's getting raked over the coals. Toby Rudolph's issued a warning last year, and Latrell gets off with nothing. I thought that was very poor from the owner.
It's a very timely little thumbs down there that automatically generate on your screen.
Where the hell does that come from?
It's just Teddy.
Where's that thumb coming from?
Teddy's negativity overall. I think it just popped up on the screen.
Let me
Yeah.
I don't know how it got here, and I don't know when it's leaving, but it's going to be very exhaustive. It's going to be doing a thumbs down with every negative comment. Don't read my Twitter account.
Don't. Paul, do you think if Latrell would have played it different, clearly he's gone out to swear in that interview. He's like Teddy said, he's acknowledged it and just continued on anyway. If he hadn't have acknowledged it and at the end said, "Oh, shit, sorry guys," this wouldn't have been a thing, or would it?
Well, no, I think it still would have been a thing because, as Teddy said, it was deliberate.
But if he didn't say it was deliberate,
Well,
I think that's the big part in this.
I think you could tell it was deliberate from the outset. There's an interview where you get caught up in the moment, the emotion of the game, and you just let one fly here or there. I can understand that, but this was just nonstop. It was repetitive. It was you don't need it, and I agree. I can't believe that it's just he's got away with it basically. Apart from a swear jar now in place at Redfern somewhere.
If I was as good at getting away with stuff as Latrell has been this year, I'd be absolutely airborne. He's been getting away with quite a bit, in terms of this, some of his on-field behaviours, him speaking out, and I have no problem with him speaking out against the Leniu suspension, but NRL rules are pretty clear that the players can't speak on an active case. Gets away with it, and he was pretty voracious on the speaking out there. So he's got away with a bit lately, Latrell. We'll see how long that lasts.
It's almost like he's deliberately trying to find out just how far he can push things before someone takes action. The way that he just, I guess, goes about his business, it just seems like he wants to find out. He's pushing it as far as he can. To be fair, I did the same with Teddy when he was here, but he really is. He's push, and he's like sort of like a sport child who just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to try and find where the boundaries are with the parents. And at the moment, he hasn't found that.
Well, much like I found out, Paul, there is boundaries and there is an end. and when it comes, you find out pretty quickly.
If that's the case, then maybe there's something bigger going on, but that's well above our pay grades, so we will move on. Quick look at last week's games. Now, the Broncos played the Rabbitohs.
Yep.
On Thursday night, and the Broncos won 28-18. Paul, have you got a quick word on this one?
I guess, well, these were the two losing teams from Vegas, and I thought the Broncos were the better of the two losing teams in Vegas, and it sort of panned out that way. I don't think, for mine, regardless of the scoreline, they seem to be in control more than the Rabbitohs were. Look, a big loss this week with Reynolds out. He's a huge chunk of that team. But they just looked a wee bit better across the field for mine than the Bunnies.
Teddy, anything to add?
Concerned with how slow South Sydney are. Concerned with how disrespectful Souths are of a game plan. They just want to play off the cuff the entire time. As soon as things start going badly, and I think the pressure is really, really mounting on Demetrio. He's dropped Ilias this week. We can talk about that later on. But some very, very ordinary teams here on South at the moment.
They seem like they were going after Adam Reynolds like it was like, oh, look, he used to play for us. Let's get him on defense. And it opened up holes everywhere else.
And even when they made breaks, like they were caught so quickly. They were hot-headed. Like they've kind of always been a hot-headed team with Latrell and Cody in there, but it's getting too much at the moment. There are players who aren't worthy of being hot-headed. Your Tane Milnes and less talented players. Well, it could cost them time and time again.
Next one, Sharks v Dogs. I'll give you the first crack at this one, Teddy. Your Dogs.
Uninspiring game. Canterbury are trying a lot harder than they were last year, but they couldn't really try less harder. But they're completely inept in attack, and they're getting beaten before they get on the field with team selection. There's no way Stephen Crichton should be in the first. He's just not getting the ball enough. They're paying nearly $1 million a year. He should be at fullback, and you've got to move on to Blake Taaffe.
Anything to add, Teddy? That's 5
Wow.
for 5 for me. So
You said quick word.
No, Sharks did enough to win against a team that offers very little, as Teddy said, on attack. They are very, very anemic when it comes to the ball in hand. And the Sharks, I think, as we said at the beginning of the season, have a very, very easy draw, and just cruising along did enough.
why is Josh Curran on the bench?
Because the idiot coach keeps him on the bench for reasons that aren't clear. Why is Stephen Crichton at fullback? Why is Blake Taaffe playing? Why is Connor Tracy stuck on? Like, there are a lot of questions, Karl, and the coach and the general manager have a lot to answer for. But Josh Curran's been Canterbury's best through 2 weeks. He's been outstanding and should be playing 80 minutes. And no, we're going to play Jamin Salmon for reasons that are entirely unclear.
Exactly what we wanted. Panthers, Eels. Paul, the Eels went with the Panthers for a while there.
Yeah, and I think they were fairly hard done by on a number of occasions during this game. The Panthers, I think we've seen, they're not the Panthers of the last 3 years. They've sort of come back to the pack slightly. Defensively, they've looked a wee bit looser than they have over past seasons. So there's a wee bit of a silver lining there for other teams in the competition, that the Panthers, although they're still very, very good, I don't think they're at that elite level that they were last season, and definitely the season before.
Paul's just stolen my line about what I thought the Panthers defense starting a little bit leaky, Teddy, but anything to add there?
Oh, yeah, I agree, but completely disagree at the same time. Their defence is a bit leaky and they are a mile off the pace, but they're winning. And that should put the fear of God into every team in the comp. Para threw everything at the Panthers, had every condition to suit, got well beaten, I thought. So I'd be very worried about the Panthers this year. I think they're just warming into the season. I think they started last year 4-4 or something like that, 5-4, and then obviously went on to win a third straight grand final. So Panthers cruising. Eels making a lot of changes to their roster at the lower end of what they're doing. So they've let a few top 30 players go. I think they realise they need to get a bit more pace out wide and maybe a little bit more one-to-front. One thing I've noticed over the first couple of weeks, I'm kind of sort of back in the last year, the big behemoth prop, the David Clemmers, the Tom Burgesses, of the game, and we kind of might be getting a bit of Junior Paul out here as well. Their role is becoming less and less important, becoming more of a hindrance than a help. And it's really about kind of fast leg speed, quick play the balls for these props at the moment and getting offloads away. And we're just not seeing it from the field. And so I think the Eels recognise that and making some changes.
You say fast legs. What about Moses Leota scoring that try off Nathan Cleary? Wow.
$10 anytime. Thanks for coming. It was.
Do you just bet on every single player?
Bet on a lot of players, Karl. A lot of players. I have a lot of bets per week. No, it was a great try. It was a sensational try. I'm reminiscent of the one in the grand final. So I suspect, I have a little feeling Moses Leota might be about to turn to the next Adam Fanua Blake in terms of that try scoring prop who can get 8 tries a year. And trust me, if you can find those guys, they are an absolute filler in the pub.
Next game, the top of the table Raiders, which is not something I thought I'd say this year, took down a struggling Tigers. Teddy, thoughts?
Tigers were completely inept. Few questionable selections there. Jaden Sullivan, halfback. He is the worst player in the NRL, and I cannot believe he's getting 600,000 a season. He is horrific, and even Benji Marshall recognised that and hooked him. He was awful. Alex Seyfarth, their middle defence was so bad. But the story from this one, twofold. Lockie Galvin, what a tremendous debut for a team that was getting smashed away. He just took the game by the scruff of the neck. He ran the ball. He tackled hard. I thought it was a wonderful debut for an 18-year-old. And the Raiders, they're just doing what they need to do. And I think if this was a good team, they would have put 50 on the Tigers the other day. I think they took the foot off the gas a little bit. But, yeah, great game. And just a little note for unders, overs, punters there. Total was 44.5 in that one. Final score, 32-12, 44 points. They knocked back a here goal in front of the post with a minute to go, even though Ricky Stewart was putting out the fingers. So well done to all you unders punters and bad luck to you overs punters.
Anything to add on that game, Paul?
No, just that it's probably going to be a long season for the Tigers, and they're going to do well to avoid the spoon again. I think there's enough there. As he said, the young fella Galvin, I thought was really good. And when he gets in behind a pack that gives him a wee bit of go forward momentum, I think we'll see him really start to shine. So there were a number of positives to take out for the Tigers, but boy, oh boy, they've really got to start turning things around soon, because this will become a bit of a habit, it's very hard to, once you get into that sort of losing sort of streak, players start looking at one another. It really gets ugly behind the scenes. So they need to pick things up pretty quickly.
The Tigers have been stuck in that rut for a few years now.
Yeah, exactly.
Next one, Cowboys tipped up the Knights 21-20, scoring all their points in the second half, Teddy.
Yeah, it was a decidedly unimpressive performance from the Cowboys. And if one thing tells you that you're going no good, it's Adam Elliott scoring 2 tries. One of the great plotters of all time, just running through the middle and scoring 2 tries. That's something else.
In your fantasy team, not bad. Thank you, Adam.
Knights threw that one away. They had the game under control. They really sharp shot too early in that one. Coming well, the Cowboys, they got the job done, but yeah, I suspect we're going to see a bit of this from the Cowboys this year. Fairly middling, hot and cold. They've got those kind of players that can get really hot and really cold. But, we saw a great performance from Scott Drinkwater in round 1. He was very poor, I thought last week. But the Knights, they've dropped Jackson Hastings this week. Tyson Gamble should have been dropped as well. They're another team that looks slow. And I think I mentioned earlier, teams that kind of succeed based on one player in red hot form, like Callum Ponga last year, it's so hard to replicate. And Ponga's not playing bad, but he's not playing anywhere like he was last year, and the Knights just aren't getting it done.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's one they tried to defend that lead as opposed to continue on what they were doing. And yeah, that's one that got away from them, unfortunately. I agree with Teddy. The Cowboys are going to win a few games. They're also going to lose a whole bunch of games as well. A couple of teams that won't be featuring at the business end of the tour of the season.
I disagree, but
wowee.
Next one breaks my heart. Storm 30, Warriors 26. We lost this game. Warriors lost this game in the first 10-15 minutes. It was
so the last 3 minutes didn't help.
Yeah, 100%.
That didn't help. But the damage was done early, in my opinion. It was reminiscent of Anzac days gone past. Those first few minutes, the way Jerome Hughes and the Storm were carving us up. Warriors went from their game plan of going straight up the guts to playing side to side. They lost their way, and I think about the 20-minute mark, they kind of found that back, and that's when they started finding their feet, and then they dominated that second half. Teddy, yours, please.
Talk about burying the lead. Like, what about that try?
One
of the great tries of all time.
It was a freakish try. Every single part of that try, forget about the put down for a second, but for Mitch Barnett, there's no way that kick was going over. He's gone back all momentum's going backwards. You're trying to kick it forward, but natural instinct takes over. Mitch Barnett charges down fine, but then you've got the ball. Ryan
was a
Pepper-
bad down. It was a bad charge down. Like, don't get me wrong, charge downs are great, but like there are times to do it and times not to.
But then for it to land perfectly in Pappenhausen's hand and him at full speed, and just it was tough.
Yeah, it will. Like I don't. There may be better tries and there may be better finishes, but I don't ever remember a better try with a better finish. In a more dramatic finish, like it was unbelievable. But like to me, the other story from the game is, Pappenhausen. Pap is back. Like some of those tries were great. It was so great. Like he's my favourite player to watch in the NRL. And at full flight, he is sensational. Was, well, particularly, I think you're spot on at the start of the game. And they've played that's 2 games in a row where they've had massive patches of playing side to side. As a Canterbury fan, it is great to see Marcelo Montoya back to his best. Oh, it is wonderful to see Marcelo Montoya back to his best. A bit like the Pong thing last year, we're just not, I said this, we're not seeing Johnson play to his best, or not play to his best, but play where near the stand he was last year. That's good. He's got to take control. They've got to get more direct. I think a fully healthy Wade Egan will be a massive boost. And I think his best strength is getting to run straight. And the attack straightened up. And maybe someone hasn't been talked about a lot this year, but I think he's maybe a star on the rise for the Wars. Rocco Berry has been very, very good on both sides of the ball. And I've been super impressed by what he's doing. And once he kind of, I don't think he's quite figured it out yet, but I think he's got the raw talent now. I think he's a real player to watch. And you Wars fans probably know that already, but he's certainly kind of emerging as in the era of not many great centers. He's certainly on the verge of being a very good one.
How good is this kick chase, Paul?
He has improved out of sight.
The Wires have got massive raps on him. I know that.
Over the last couple of seasons, he's really, really stepped up in leaps and bounds. You can make an argument he's their most improved player from 2 seasons ago. He's been very, very, very good. The Wires lost it. The Wires lost it in the final 3. You lead by 8 points with 3 minutes to go. And I know I accused the Knights of trying to defend their lead, but all you do is you pump that ball down, play your 5 tackles, pump the ball down into the corner, and then you tackle.
That's all you got to do. That's all you've got to do.
That's what you do with 3 minutes to go, holding on to an 8-point lead.
I don't think they didn't do that though.
Well,
there's a bloke called Jerome Hughes, a bloke called Ryan Pappenhausen, who just carved us up.
Yeah, I thought you guys tried to shut it down a bit with, I know you had to take those penalty goals because they were in front and to give you a certain lead, but I thought that changed the mentality of the way the Warriors were playing. And and it wasn't about not pumping it down in the corner and stuff like that. It to me was you lost all your energy and you just tried to make sure you're on the back foot in defence the entire last 3 minutes. There was no getting up and going forward. That last pack try, I think, really threw them off that little inside ball, because when the ball was being spread on that last tackle, they were worried about the inside ball the entire way across.
Yeah. Incredible little pass from Ali Katoa there to Pappenhausen.
was he a Warrior?
Oh, and Joe Tanner as well in the first half.
Yes.
Both brilliant little passes. Great to see footy like that as well. I love seeing tries created that aren't just block plays. Like that's just you've got 2 talented back rowers who can pop a pass. You've got a super speedy fullback. So create a game plan around it. Don't just run the same thing that you'd do if you've got, 2 meatheads and a plodding fullback.
Can we stop going back to the Bulldogs every time?
You just described us. I'll let you decide.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to be a meathead or a plodding fullback. I think I'll take the meathead.
Anything else to add on the Warriors, Storm?
Look, once again, positive to take out for the Wars. They scored 26 points against a team who held the Panthers to 0 the week before. They came back from 18-6 down at halftime. look, it was just an uncharacteristic final 5 minutes from an Andrew Webster coached Warriors team. So they're not that far away from a result, and when they click, look out the opposition. And I think that week is this week actually.
Yes.
So there's a lot of good things to take out of that game. Unfortunately, they're 0-2, but I don't see that staying that way. I don't see that O staying there for too much longer. There's a lot of good things to take out.
Interesting.
I don't feel like they're 0-2. Doesn't feel that way.
Oh, I'll just check the ladder for what I feel.
No. So you can't win the season in the first 2 weeks, Ted. You can't.
You can't ruin the season the first. You sure as hell can ruin a season the first 2 weeks.
I said you can't win.
Oh, you can't win a season. No, you can't win a season.
And I'll have you know, in 2011, the Warriors started 0-3 and made it all the way to the grand final.
How was that premiership for you?
Look, don't get me started on that. That forward pass,
It was a
Anthony,
mile forward. I was at that game. It was a mile forward.
disgusting refereeing. Next game, Manly, the Roosters. Teddy, are Manly the real deal?
Not sure. I'm a reserve judgment on that one. They're certainly been impressive, and they do what they do with Turbo in the team in that they play very well with Pingang. Homoli Olafuatu is turning into some kind of back rower. He really is turning into an elite player. To me, I thought the Roosters were a touch disappointing. I thought they kind of shot themselves in the foot with some silly errors more often than not. Manly the real deal. I probably underestimated them. I think I had them 10th or 11th. I probably underestimated them there, but real deal. I don't know if I go that far.
Can you commit?
Real deal. Yeah.
Wee, there we go.
Yeah. While Tommy Turbo's on the field, they are the real deal. And the big thing is, if he stays healthy, they make the 8. If he doesn't, then they probably just miss out, finishing 9th or 10th. I've got them. I think they do. He is so, I guess, so influential in how their games pan out. He is so good offensively, even without the ball. He creates space for other players by getting a defense to overcommit to whatever side he's running to. Seagulls are the real deal for mine.
Speaking of influential players, next game, Dolphins Dragons. My note here is hammer time. 204 meters run, 14 carries, 4 tackle breaks, 3 tries, and an absolute bell ringer of a try saver at the end there to keep the Dragons to 0, Teddy. The Hammer had one hell of a game.
He had the Dragons to 0 and to keep him his last try scorer, so his legend just kept rising. Sign of a good coach is being honest with your players, particularly your good players. Sign of a good player to take that advice and bounce back. He had an all-time shocker in round 1. He had a game for the ages, but in the Dolphins' biggest ever win, one of the most impressive ever victories at Redcliffe. He's a wonderful player. He really is the way he moves. He's got a little bit of Steve off about him in terms of just how he moves those hips and how he kind of gets over the ground. Absolutely love to watch him. But I thought there were a couple other good players as well, like Jake Averillo. Somehow he didn't make the team in round 1. I thought he was outstanding. Scoring a try. They dominated through the middle. Jeremy Marshall King was really picked apart the Dragons, but worries about the Dragons. Like, that was one thing you expect from a Shane Flanagan team is that they're not going to give up the ghost. And boy, oh boy, did they capitulate pretty quickly.
Dolphins, your team.
Big thing for me, Wayne Bennett. Not afraid to make a decision after one round, as opposed to, I guess, what we've seen at the Bulldogs. I thought he made a couple of selection. Well,
Blues.
Anyway, he looked at round 1. He said, right, I'm going to make a few changes. Jake Averillo comes in, plays very, very well. Ewan Aitken comes into the pack. He looked pretty good as well. Katoa comes into the half. He's not afraid to make decisions and make them quickly. And all of these changes that he made all came up roses. And obviously, we said the Hammer was probably the worst player on the field in round one. He was probably the best player on the field in round two.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, Wayne Bennett, I'll tell you what, the drums must be beating just a wee bit louder for him to be heading to Redfern next season.
He's got an absolute moral to be at Redfern next year. I couldn't get enough money on Wayne coaching South, Sam Boo's assistant coach next year.
You heard it here first.
Well,
all right. Time to move on to the grid. If you're playing at home, pause the pod. Go and do yesterday's grid, Tuesday, 19th of March. Come back and compare your scores. We're going to do it a bit faster this week because we are chewing through time here.
yeah, when we play it loose, we get through it quite quickly. It's when there's all the structure involved.
Yeah, I noted the time that you guys... The time
We were about 4 hours last week.
Exactly. That's why I'm only halfway through it. Across the top, we've got has played for the Bunnies, played between 98 and 2005, has played for the Raiders down the left, played for Queensland, played for 4+ clubs, has played for the Dragons. Teddy, if you can start, give me your top row, please, and their points.
Unicorn, Julian O'Neill, South Queensland, 1.7 points, 7.5 points. Yeah, strange look there from Karl. What was strange? The playing for Queensland or the playing for South?
No, just a unicorn straight off the bat.
Off the bat. I've got a brain for the next one, 98 to 2005. John Buttigieg, 0.46. And Canberra played for Queensland. Australia this one, Adam Mogg, 3.33.
I'll go next. I've got Chris McQueen, 6.24. Queensland Bucks. Between 98 and 2005, played for Queensland. Wendell Saylor, 0.82. Saylor family get another shout out. And I also had Adam Mogg, 3.33.
Okay. Dane Gagai, 11.37. Cameron Smith, 4.27. Josh Papali'i, 16.19. Thank you.
You don't even try.
Move on.
Your middle row, please, Ted.
This is 4+ clubs. Had Glenn Hall play for South, 3.25 points. Willie Mason, 4 clubs, 98 to 05, 2.99. And a brain for the last one, Raiders, 4+ clubs, Tyron Smith, 1.83.
I have, if you had used Dane Nelson here, which is what I used, 2.13. Between 98 and 2005, Jeff Robson, 2.05.
Oh, yes, sir.
And Raiders played for 4+ clubs, struggled with this one, but Brett Finch, 4.62.
Wonder how Finch is doing these days.
What was that?
Wonder how Finch is doing these days.
Oh,
Paul, your turn.
Oh, here we go. Josh Mansour, 100. John Scandalis, 100. A brain, Tyron Smith, 1.83.
Didn't John Scandalis play for one club?
No. He played for West and he played for West.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, wow. Bottom row, please, Teddy.
Bunnies Dragons, Andrew Hart, 1.91.
Jeez.
Orange Local, Dragons played 98 to 2005. Wizard, 0.10. Wise, Kadavarava. And last one, worst one of the answer, Raiders Dragons, Simon Wolford, 5.28.
You seriously making some of these names up?
I think I've got a few years in age than you, Karl. And to be honest, if he didn't live in Orange and wasn't involved in footy here, I doubt I would have remembered him.
I have gone for Ben Ross, 3.25.
Yeah, nice.
Nathan Brown, 0.41. Thought I'd get a little emoji icon there, but no, nothing. And the only NRL player that I can recall that has starred for the WWE, Daniel Vidot at 4.08.
Love that.
I thought that was very high for him, 4.08.
I don't know what the range was. Obviously, the range has changed a bit for someone. So, like, I think with the Moggy one, it might have actually been the best answer, and they got 3.33.
Yeah.
Anyway, Peter deserved better.
Hami Saley, 2.29. Wayne Bartram, 0.54. Simon Wolford, 5.28.
Teddy, your total score?
20.9.
Mine is 26.9.
Very nice. Here we go. How's your maths, Karl?
241.8.
This is great.
I still think that choosing Cameron Smith as a player for Queensland was more egregious than your two 100s. You couldn't have thought of a single player played for 7 years other than the most capped Queensland player of all time.
That's the best score he got in that row too.
Yes, 4.27. Yep.
Wow. All right, that's the NRL grid for another week. Righto, let's look at this week's games. And we're going to start with the Panthers Broncos. Panthers are $1.33. Broncos $3.20. It is the grand final rematch. Panthers have won 6 of the last 7. The average total points scored in the last 10 games, 36.8. The total this week, 37.5. Teddy, what else have you got for me?
Yeah, Adam Reynolds out for the Broncos, Key out, Fisher Harris out for the Panthers, less so. A few numbers here. I'll be betting the Panthers middle of the road and the under very, very heavy. Panthers 22 and 10 against the spread at Bluebet. Main numbers for me there, though. They've covered 77% of games off conceding 18 plus, so they bounce back from poor defensive showings. No real knock on the Broncos here, but lots of Reynolds is a big out. But under angles everywhere. My favourite, 75.5% the last 3 seasons in the opening 4 rounds. When a team is off conceding 18 plus, teams bounce back defensively and they go under. They focus on that. And in the last Penrith undergo under 61.5% conceding 18 plus. So the last 6 of the last 8 have gone under between these two teams. I'm going to be back in the under confidently.
Anything to add here, Paul?
Not really. Just the big out for the Bronx, Adam Reynolds, who's he guides them around the park. They'll miss him big time. Jock Madden comes in. They're coming up against a Panthers team who haven't hit their straps yet, who are still sort of finding their way to a certain extent. I think they could win this one easily, the Panthers.
Yeah, I struggle to see where the Broncos get their points from this week.
Yeah, agreed. And just a little note there as well. Anytime a try score opponents, we're going to consider 6 tries this year. 5 have come through the middle. So, if you want to back up a Moses Leota or a Mitch Kenya or Nathan Cleary, this is a good way to do it.
Well, Nathan Cleary has scored in his last 2 games against the Broncos as well.
Yeah, so his last 10 tries have all come in the second half. So, just a price for me.
When opposing defenses are getting a little bit tired.
Yeah.
Well, it's smart from Clear, right? He says he's running till they get tired, so well done.
Yep.
That's where I went wrong. I tried to do all my score in the first half.
Oh, boy.
All right. Next one, Friday night, the Wars, $1.46 v. the Raiders, $2.65 in Christchurch. Warriors have won the last 2 and 4 of the last 6. The average total points scored in the last 10 between these two, 44.9. Only once in the last 10 has it been less than 40. And the total this week, 42.5. Ted.
Just a note on Christchurch. So I spoke to Peter Volandis last week, and it seems like there's a good chance that the South Island will be getting a team. But I was unaware that there were 2 bids already in place for the South Island, and one is led by David Moffat, one of the biggest one of the more interesting characters who ever led the NRL. So I'll be surprised if he's leading the way. But anyway, obviously league's taking off in Christchurch. Great to see. Wars 0-2, Raiders 2-0. I cannot, for the life of me, be laying a 6.5 points for the Warriors. So I've got to be with the Raiders here. Not hugely confident, but the Warriors 3-8 against the spread the last 11 times they've been favourable on more than a converted try. They've covered just 7 of 23 of conceding 30 plus. And I've rattled this off the last 2 weeks. I know they covered last week, but Charles Nickel-Clogstad not playing 6-11 against the spread, plays 9-3 against the spread. I think is so important. Got to be with the Raiders here, plus small, but the best bet, the under 42.5. Yeah, we mentioned the big stat about teams that conceding 18 plus early in the season. Also, teams off a win of 13 plus, like the Raiders in the first 4 rounds of the year, under goes 68.8%. So very, very keen on the under in this one.
Tell me you disagree with him.
That's my bet of the round.
Yes.
Wires.
My
I
guy.
love the wires here. That I don't care about those stats that Teddy just started reeling off. This is a different wires team. He's got to get with the program. Telling you right now, Wires win this one. I'm happy to take the -6.5. I'll be all over the Wires in my betting.
DWZ also scored in each of his last 2 versus the Raiders. Wade Egan been named big in if he plays, as we discussed earlier, Ted.
Yeah, totally. We're talking about selections, though. What the hell is Ricky Stewart done for Zach Hosking to the bench for? He's fourth in Delhi and Medi after 2 weeks. He's been a star. He's on the bench. Ricky Stewart might manage to get the Wires home here. He might be the one to kibosh the Raiders this one.
I was having a look back through try scorers between these 2 teams in the last few years, and I tell you what, the Warriors will be happy Jack Whiten is no longer playing for the Green Machine, because he can score a try against the Warriors. I tell you that much. I think he scored five tries in the last 4 games or 6 games or something like that.
Yeah, the hard running 5'8", I didn't like that.
Very happy he's not there. Next one, Roosters, $1.69, Rabbitohs, $2.13. The Roosters have won 2 straight and 3 of the last 4. The average total points scored in the last 10 between these two, 45.8. In the last 5 matches, 41.2. The total this week is 39.5. Teddy.
I'll be at this game with former Advantage Line alumni Matt Fisk. So we'll be here to cheer on this great rivalry. Some key outs in this one. Lachlan Ilias dropped by Souths. Luke Keary out hurt with for the Roosters, and they also dropped Sia Wong. So I think this Roosters team look a lot better than the team they fielded last week. So I like Sanders Smith. I think Sanders Smith's better player than Keary, so I think they'll be fine. I also think Lachlan Ilias is a horrific player, so I think the Rabbitohs are probably better off as well. So Ben Hawkins is got that time to adjust. I think the problem might be a little wider there. Lean towards the Roosters without any strong kind of evidence this one. Souths have conceded. I've covered just 1 of their last 7 off conceding 28 plus, so they're not a good bounce back team defensively. Like the under here though, rattle off all the angles they hold in this one. Round 1 to 4 off conceding 18 plus, 28 plus, night games, and the Roosters Allianz 8-2 to the under. So back in under 39.5 here with again a good deal of confidence.
I like the unders here too. We're just talking about Jack Whiten. Well, he comes into the South's back line, slots into centre, replacing Richie Kenner, who, well, that's a huge plus for the Rabbitohs. I give them a wee bit of a chance here to upset the Roosters. But yeah, definitely unders. I think Whiten just strengthens that defensive line for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And I can see an improved performance here after all of the kerfuffle that's gone on, after what happened post-game last weekend. I think they'll be able to get back. I feel sorry for Lachlan Ilias, but I can understand why. He just hasn't been producing the goods for the Bunnies, unfortunately. So the young fella, Dean Hawkins, gets his go. But I think the big plus for them, Jack Whiten coming into the centres, certainly defensively, that should lock things up a wee bit better than they have been for the Bunnies.
Forgive me, Paul. I wasn't laughing at you.
No, I know you weren't.
Teddy's kid just bust down the door like the Hulk and tried to enter the show.
Don't worry, you got picked up and taken out pretty quick smart. It was the kind of defense the Bulldogs need.
Yeah, that'll probably be the best tackle you see from a Bulldogs player this weekend.
Speaking of the Dogs, $1.77 favourites over the Titans at $2. They've split the last 10, 5 apiece. Teddy, a quick word on this game.
Yeah, awful betting game. Dogs rarely been favourites over the last little bit, but they have won 7 of their last 9 when favoured. They've covered the last 3 against the Titans. They've got more talent in the team. Whether they can get it all together, I don't know. I wouldn't be jumping in to take the $1.72 or whatever it is, but I think I'd rather be with them than the Titans. All the numbers say unders, but daytime, Belmore, and 3 of the last 5 top 50 unders too, so no real view of the total.
But I'm going to tell you, I favour the Dogs here after everything that's been said about them so far. I love the fact they're at Belmore. I think that sort of, when you take your games back to your sort of spiritual homes, I think it can lift the crowd. Usually gets them by a smaller ground, so you don't need as many people in the crowd to garner a wee bit of atmosphere. It's just, yeah, they're continuing with their selection policy at the moment. And, well, I just don't think they're getting the best out of the players that they have at the moment. But I think they'll have enough against the Titans this weekend.
Dragons, $2.90. Cowboys, $1.39. Cowboys have won 4 straight. Probably going to be 5. They're 8.5-point favourites, Ted.
Absolute all-time bet. Dragons plus 8.5 is probably going to be bet of the year. This could not line up any better for the Dragons. They big early season home underdogs cover a huge rate, 65% in the first 4 rounds. Shane Flanagan is a coach who did not tolerate bad losses. Teams early in the season are off a flogging. They cover it a ridiculous rate. Interstate favourites of 4 or more in the first 4 rounds cover 31%. The Cowboys have covered just 10 of 31 interstate. Back at Cogra, Flanagan with the whip out, made some changes. I could not. You cannot be more confident on the Dragons. And if we didn't have a responsible gambling message to say, I'd be just like, get all those chips in the middle, because this is a great bet.
We do, of course, though, have responsible gambling.
We do, so I would not say that.
So please bet safely and responsibly.
Manage a lot better than putting them all in the middle.
Leave me out of the Dragons, but Paul, you seem pretty keen.
Dragons. Yes,
Yeah.
love the Dragons plus the points as well.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, huge bounce back here for the Dragons.
Did you see how bad they played last week?
Yep.
Okay.
That's why I like them. That's why you want to be on it.
Exactly. That's exactly why. I'll tell you what, Flanagan will be putting through the ringers this week.
If that's the reason, like the Tigers have been playing like that for 4 years.
They don't have anything. They don't have the cattle.
Neither does this. Sorry, Karen, this is your floor.
They don't have a coach either. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think Benji is an NRL coach.
Shots fired.
No. He may become one right now. No, he's been handed a poison chalice, whereas Flanagan is a fair income NRL coach, and he can turn this team around. That's exactly what I expect to see. Happy to take them plus 8.5. Also happy to take them at the head-to-head as well.
Big thanks to Scott Fulton for his comments on Benji Marshall.
Speaking of Benji Marshall, Tigers $4, Sharks $1.23. Sharks have won 4 straight and 10 of the last 11 against the Tigers. Teddy?
Tigers plus, absolutely. Not as confident as the Dragons, but a bet I like this week. Big early season home underdogs. Underdogs cover at Leichhardt, covered 7 of 9. Teams offer a win of 13 or more in their opening 4 rounds. They cover it as 44%. This is a game where I probably won't be taking the Tigers straight out. I think the number's too big here, and I will be taking the plus with a good deal of confidence in a game I think will be a low scoring one as well.
That is 12.5, and I'm correction, and Tigers are $3.85, Sharks $1.24. Where do you sit, Paul?
Plus 12.5. Yep. With Teddy here, not quite as strong as the Dragons, but I see Justin Olam gets his first go in a Tigers jersey, and the centres there. He'll bring a wee bit of that Melbourne culture with him. Lachlan Galvin, I'm looking forward to see him continue on his ways. For a young fella, he's got a very, very good head on his shoulders. And look, if you have a look at their pack, it's not the worst. Utoi Kamanu and Clemmer, Coruscant, the Iceman, they've got some players there. I'm glad to see Caesar in the halves. Well, I'm not happy to see him in the halves there, but I think he's a better fit with Galvin.
He's also, like, Caesar's a pretty limited player. He's a million times better than Jaden Sullivan. I'll take Pima Wadi at halfback over here.
Has there ever been an instance where, we've seen the player coach in the NRL? Because I reckon Benji could get a start.
I was actually thinking that the last one was Wally Lewis in 91, player coach the Gold Coast Seagulls. There was talk a few years ago that Cameron Smith might take up if Bellamy retires, but no, not to be. But Benji may need to pull the boots back on.
Eels $1.83, Seagulls $1.92. They split the last 4 2-2. Manly have won 5 of the last 7. Parramatta are 1.5 point favourites. Teddy?
Yeah, no real push in this one, kind of any which way. Probably Leonard was Manly. They've been pretty impressive for the first 2 weeks and cover at 60% with Turbo V, 35% without him. I don't really trust the Eels. Surprised they're marginal favourites here. Lean towards Manly, and if I was having a total bet, lean towards the under, but no real push here.
You got anything for us?
The Sea Eagles owe me nothing so far this season. They've been very, very good for me, and I will continue to ride that Sea Eagle train until it stops at a station and drops me off. So, yeah, I'm happy to be on the Sea Eagles. I'm happy that they're a slight underdog.
Yeah, the $1.92 looks very good. Last one, Knights $1.83, Storm $1.92. Speaking of $1.92 looking good, Melbourne have won 11 of the last 12. They've averaged 35.5 points in the last 10 games against the Knights, while the Knights have averaged just over 12, Teddy.
It'll be a cold day in hell if I back the Knights as favourites against the Melbourne Storm. Like, even without Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes, this is a team with 2 very different cultures. Look, I can't be too confident on the Storm. They are going to be rolling out Jonah Pezzett and Tyron Wishart as their halves. Like, Pezzett looks like he's got a bit of talent, but big jump up for him as the number 1 guy, and Wishart is entirely limited as a player. But Pap's still there, Harry Grant's still there. I have to be on Melbourne, but best bet in this one is the under. Very keen on the under for reasons we've very much discussed before in terms of early season teams often conceding 18 plus, which both have. So love the under in this one.
I'm happy to be on the Storm here. Obviously, a huge out in the halves there. And when you say the Storm halves are Pezzett and Wishart, that certainly sends a few shivers down your spine. But they've just got that their systems there are so good that they'll have worked. Bellamy will have worked something out to attack this Knights team. As you say, Pappy's back to his best. He's boy, oh boy, he looked sensational. Unfortunately, against the Warriors last weekend, and Harry Grant's he's the best hooker in the game. I think he's just superb. So they've got a big solid pack there, and I think just the fact that Pappenhau's in the back, he'll create a number of opportunities for them, and it'll be enough to get them home. Yep, Storm for mine.
Storm win this. The under. I was looking at the total. I thought that's a bit low. I think the overs are in play, but it could actually be 36-0 here in favour of the Storm. So
I think a more likely scenario is given the Storm halves, it could be 8-0 again. Because they're going to be very much. I don't know where the Knights are scoring points, so I'm with you completely there. But I don't know if the Storm are running in 36 with no Munster and no Hughes.
I think they've got enough cattle elsewhere that.
Yeah, I think they can score. I think they can score enough points to win. 36 is a lot of points.
I'm optimistic, Teddy. I'm an optimistic.
Speaking of this, like maybe the bet is the Knights team total under, so
which is
19.5, 20.5, I mean.
Because I'm such a good host, 20.5. Get out of it.
That's free. That is free.
$1.77 for unders.
I'm putting that in my multi now.
Speaking of multis, do you have the results from last week, Paul?
No.
No? Well, I know my bet got up.
What was yours?
I texted it to you while I was on holiday.
hold
I'm
on
going to
a
read
minute.
it out.
I don't think we read it out last week, did we?
No, it came in after the record.
Well, I don't know
But
if that can.
I've
Does
got a
that count?
thumbs up emoji here saying that it was cited. And I said, my bet for TAL this week, all $100 on a 3-leg multi. Sharks, Panthers, Cowboys, all head-to-head, please. $2.55.
Winner, chicken dinner.
So
Let's see.
155 cashed for me there.
I'm going back a few.
You're going to look on WhatsApp.
I
Right.
I lost my Storm to cover bet, $6, but I hit my 3-leg multi unders in 3 games, and they all lobbed, I believe. So
Nice. How did you go?
Where are we? Hold on. I've got to find this.
I was
bloody
trying to
thing
audit
here.
something that I've just shown.
Let's just see here.
It
Did
was
I get it?
last
Oh, here we
Thursday.
are. Sharks, Panthers, Cowboys, all head to head, 255.
Which is what I just said.
All right.
who did you have last week, Paul?
What's that?
How'd
What
you
did you have last week?
Rubbish.
Okay. Paul's on fire. Let's go to this week, and I'll start with our guests who pop in from time to time. Surly, he's got $60 on the Panthers, Wars, Cowboys, and Sharks at $3.31, all head to head. He's got $20 on the Wars, 13 plus. Chooks minus 2.5. I think it's 1.5 now.
Still 2.5.
Is it? Oh, it is 2.5. Sorry. And Manly 1 to 12 at $16.30. And then he's got a $20 3-leg anytime try scorer bet that he has called the centre of attention. He's got Rocco Berry, Bradman Best, and Jesse Ramian all to score a try at $22.50. And then Blake, he's got 2 bets. $80 at $2.69. Cowboys, Panthers, Warriors all head to head. And then $20 at $14.99. Panthers minus 8.5. Warriors 13 plus. Parramatta 1 to 12. So I'm not talking continuously. Teddy, what do you got this week?
All right, we have a double. Maybe you can get the prices from me here because I don't have access to them, Karl. But Dragons plus 8.5 into an Alafiana Khan Pereira try in the Bulldogs Titans game, which I think should work out at about $3.60. My maths from my Ladbrokes
$3.49.
was taking others. Thanks. I'll have $80 on that, and I'm going to have, and maybe you can figure this one out for me as well. I think it should be around the $12.50 mark, but I'm having under 37.5 in the Panthers Broncos, under 42.5 in the Warriors Raiders, under 39.5 in the Roosters Rabbitohs, and Newcastle Knights team under 20.5, $1.77.
I'm going to need you to start that again. I missed all of that.
Unders in the first 3 games into the Knights team under.
Under. Into the Knights. Can you take?
The $12.14, I think it was.
Can we take the Knights to score nothing?
You would be able to, yeah. That'd be great.
10 points or less. No, that's Knights.
Okay.
10
That's
points. Less.
$12.
Sorry, I'll get to your bet in a second. 10 points or less for the Knights, $5.50.
Oh, I take away all bets. We'll just put it on that.
You got $11.08 for your bet, Teddy.
$11.08. Okay. Well, I'll still have it anyway. So 20 on that and 80 on that. Dragons plus 8.5. Khan Pereira try double.
Beauty. I'll go with mine next. I've got 2 bets on paper here, and I remember saving some money to wait and see what comes out this afternoon. I've got $30 on the under in the Penrith Brisbane, the over in the Warriors game, and the over in the South Sydney Roosters game at $6.40.
Throw some shade.
Sorry?
Throw some shade.
20 on a same game multi. Brandon Smith into Alex Johnson to score tries at $10. And then I will have I was hoping that there'd be some power plays up, but there is not. So I'm scrambling here, fellas. Oh, yeah, sure. Take this. Take my money. The other 50 on Sean Johnson to score a try, Warriors to win, $5.
My success in this competition is solely relying on the Warriors going no good. Let me guess, Paul. You like the Warriors this week?
$50 on a 3-leg multi. Warriors -7.5. St. George +8.5. And the Sea Eagles head-to-head comes out to $6.67. 50 on that. And $50 on Jack Whiten to score a try in his debut for the Bunnies at $3.75.
Very nice. Right before we wrap things up, got an update on the tipping comp. I think I got 7 from 8 last week.
Where are you?
How'd you go, Teddy?
I haven't put my tips in as well. Let me have a look.
You didn't put your tips in for last week?
Oh, I hope I did. Bear with me. I picked a lot of outside, so I'm guessing I didn't do so well.
After the grief you gave him for not letting us start the week properly.
I would have put my tips in, Karl. Come on.
Congratulations to Marge, who was top of the table with 17.5 points as we speak. Marge, top of the table at the moment. I am in 114th position.
I'm 73rd, Paul. 73rd. Despite you Paul getting a 2-game advantage on us.
Yeah, where am I? I feel like I'm better than 114th.
So I don't know how. Again, I'm very confused by the scoring system, and I'm on 10 points with 2 in the second column.
Yeah, so
What's
you
that?
get bonus points for how close your margin is and all that sort of stuff. And if you pick all 8 games, you get an extra 4 points, and it's wild.
I'm on 12 points overall.
I know I got 10 last week, so I'm probably on 12, 13 maybe.
What's your plan now?
Nigel Lilly.
72nd. Oh, you're one spot out now. You're equal with me. You're beating me on margin, Nigel.
There we go.
There you go.
It's all right. We're both still beating Paul. Great stuff.
We were both given a 2-game handicap as well.
Oh, gee.
Right. That'll do us. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Teddy, for joining us yet again.
Pleasure, as always. It's probably the most fun, I was about to say fun hour of the week, but fun hour and 3/4, hour and a half, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we've got to try and get it down to an hour or less. Paul, thank you. And thank you to everyone listening and watching out there. We'll be back next week to review and preview and do it all again. Cheers.